Hey everybody, welcome to the Juniper Links accounting channel. My name's Caroline and today we're going to start part 1 of our Limited Company Essentials course. In this lesson we're going to look at basically how to incorporate your own limited company. So you'll have all the essential details you need in order to do this and kind of what you're getting yourself into with, with a new limited company. So without further delay, let's jump into my computer and get started. We are in my computer and we're talking about, as you know, incorporating your limited company. And this is part of our Essentials course for limited companies. Okay, number 1. So the first step in incorporating your company is to choose a company name. Well, obviously there's some other steps involved too, such as, well, we'll get into it later. But basically, once you've decided to start a company, you must choose a company name. And now, Companies House has a tool to help you check whether this company name you've decided is available. If you just simply type in company name checker Companies House or something like that into Google, it will come up as one of the first search results, so don't worry there. And this company name will be visible on Companies House. You can still have a trading name if you decide. And you can use LTD or limited as the suffix. So it'll just be like whatever your company name is. So let's like pick a random, like a banana. Let's say you decided to call your company name Banana. It's unlikely it's available, but I want Banana Limited. You will be able to choose this suffix, whether it's LTD or limited. Whatever you think looks better is basically what you prefer to look like. That's pretty much all it's for. And then the trading name can be selected when you register for taxes later. You can inform your bank of your trading name, you can inform HMRC of your trading name, and then it'll just use that. But you do need to put your company name on like websites and stuff if necessary going forward, but at least your company number, because that will link it to your company regardless. So it is possible to change the company name with a resolution. The old name will still show up on Companies House though, so you cannot get rid of it completely. It'll show that it's been changed from the old name to the new one on the front. So if anyone searches your company, they can still find it by the old name, which is kind of useful, but also if you really wanted to just like get rid of the old name and change it completely, it can be annoying. So you might want to look at opening a new company if it's something like that. Number 2, select the company directors. So when you incorporate a company, you will need one company director at least to set it up. So there's no need for secretary. This is if you want somebody to deal with correspondence on your behalf and signing off on stuff. If you're the director, there's no need to list yourself as a secretary in addition to being a director. You don't have to live in the UK, but the company does need a UK registered address and it cannot be a PO box, unfortunately. So keep that in mind. And directors do have responsibilities, and I've just outlined some of them for you here, just so you kind of got an idea of what it means to run your own limited company. So keep company records. This means all of its income, expenses, invoices, receipts, whatever. You need to keep those for 6 years, at least from the transaction date. You need to report any changes to the business. So if the address changes, if the director changes, if anything at all basically changes, such as shareholdings, your own address, you will need to update Companies House accordingly and HMRC, depending on what it is. So the next one's a filing of accounts. And this is, you have to produce a set of accounts for every 12-month trading period from incorporation, and it's due to both HMRC and Companies House. Same with corporation tax, you need to do the corporation tax returns. Corporation tax is just to HMRC, so keep that in mind. Let me write this down for you. So it's going to be Companies House and HMRC. They both need your accounts, and then corporation tax is just an HMRC thing. So you will pay them and submit the corporation tax return to HMRC. And then also you've got to follow the company rules outlined in the Articles of Association. Number 3, select your shareholders. This is another requirement. So the company does need at least one shareholder. So if you're the only director and the only shareholder in the company, you will be listed as both. and you often just have the £1 share in the business, and that's all you need to do. When it asks for the shareholder details, just put your own stuff in and just do £1 share. Directors will be responsible to basically run the business, instruct where it's going, all that kind of stuff. They make the decisions. The shareholders also have decision-making abilities, but it's in the way of voting rights. And shareholders also own the company based on how many shares they've got. So if you've got the £1 share in the business and there's only one share in the business, then you own 100% of the shares, meaning you own 100% of the business. And that's generally how it works. And the next one, number 4, a registered office address. So this, again, required to be on Companies House displayed. Your company requires a UK registered office address. So if you are living in Scotland, let me just point this out. If you're living in Scotland, your registered office address will be Scottish. And that means you will have a Scottish registered company with the beginning. So instead of a full company number like you normally get, which is just a bunch of numbers, for a Scottish company, you will have the first 2 numbers or characters as SC, and then you'll have the rest of the numbers after. So Scottish companies have these prefix SC. Normal companies would just have the numbers. Cannot be a PO box. I did mention this before. Unfortunately, they don't accept those. You can use a registered office address service to keep your personal address off the public record. So you can use a service address for your registered office. You can use a service address for the director and also the person of significant control, which I will get into in a second here, but basically you can keep your stuff private. So the director's service address, you require a service address to be listed on Companies House so people can contact you as the director. This can be your home address, or again, if you'd rather keep that private, you can use an address service to keep your personal info off of Companies House, and they will forward you any post from HMRC and Companies House which you really need. Now, number 6, persons of significant control. You heard me say this a second ago. This is not too long ago this was brought in, so it was a few years ago now, but basically Companies House now requires you to disclose who is the controlling person of the company, and if there's more than one. So anyone with more than 25% of the shares are a controlling interest in the company. So they've got a lot of shares, basically. They're going to be having a significant weight to throw around with the whole voting thing. Now, as a single director, this won't bother you too much because you will be the only one. But they basically want to understand who's controlling the company and where do they actually live. So in this case, you must disclose an address that is actually your home address. They're trying to stop basically money laundering, things like this. So that's what it is. You can use a service address for the public record too, but Companies House will have your actual address. So on their end, they will see your actual address. So you must identify the persons of significant control. If you've got 2 directors starting out and you split it 50-50 with the shares, so you each got £1, you're both going on the significant control list. That's all it is. And that comes with incorporation. You can also update it later on. So keep that in mind. Anytime you add new shareholders or anything like that, you need to update the PSC register, as it's called. And it's pretty easy to do online with Companies House web filing service. And number 7, SIC Code Classification. So you must select a SIC code, as they're called. I don't know why, but depending on the activities of your company. So you will find a list. Sometimes they don't fit perfectly. I mean, for example, IT consultants can use 62020 for information technology consultancy activities, okay? Now, there's a huge list. Literally just look up SIC code list HMRC or Companies House. They'll come up with their condensed list, and you can just do your best to pick the ones that fit the best with what you do. That was a very long-winded way to go about it, but that's what it is. So financial services, they've got their own whole section in there with little different things you do. So just pick what you can. You can pick a few SIC codes. So if there's aspects of your business that fit into multiple SIC codes, just pick the best ones, and basically that's what it is. Alright, so then Companies House and everyone else knows what your business does. Number 8 is the submission fee. So there is an online submission fee to form a company, and it is £12. So not a huge investment to start. No, not at all. So £12 and your company will be incorporated. Now there's plenty of incorporation services you can find online as well, which will charge a similar price. They work too. I mean, you will probably have a better time doing that than using Companies House's own website. Theirs is a bit of a mess. A lot of information, a lot of repeated information. You'll see what I mean if you ever use it. If you're submitting by post, it's £100, but there's really no need to do that. Online is absolutely fine and way easier. So if you're submitting by post, you will need to include the memorandum and articles of association along with the actual company details. Online submissions automatically come with a memorandum. They pre-do one for you, basically. That's like a standard document, and they'll just include it for you, so you don't have to worry about making it yourself. And also you can adopt their model articles, which again, they can include it for you, or you can create your own articles or company rules. Now, if you want to do this, I recommend getting legal advice because it's not something you want to be messing with. So make sure you've got a good legal advisor at your disposal to help with that. Normally for single directors and just like husband and wife companies, the automatic memorandum and model articles are absolutely fine. You don't need to change anything there. So that's done. And once you've got all those details, I know I ran through it a little bit quickly, but that's okay. Once you've got that information, you can incorporate your company with the gov.uk website. So this is basically, I like to call it the HMRC website, but it's not. So gov.uk, there's an option there. Companies House has their own web incorporation service. Again, just search for web incorporation service on Google and you will find it. I promise. Easiest option is to use a third-party service or an agent, such as an accountant. There's way less form filing to do, way less repeating your address over and over and over again. I think HMRC's one, or the gov.uk one, is a bit better. So if you are planning to just do it yourself, I would recommend the gov.uk website instead. They did put some work into user interface there. And then normally the company will be registered for corporation tax as part of the incorporation, and you can fill out the extra details about that after you submit the company details. If you need to register separately, then you can do that. It's not a big deal. UTR is sent by post after the company is registered. So when you submit the company details to Companies House, HMRC will get notified and they will send your corporation tax UTR if it's set up immediately as part of the incorporation service. So this is what HMRC uses to identify your company. You also get a self-assessment UTR when you register for self-assessment. So those two are different. Don't mix them up. One's for corporation tax, one is for personal tax. So yeah, and that's basically the info you need to submit when you're creating your own company for the first time, especially for single directors. It's very straightforward. Just make sure you've got an address you can use, whether that's a service or your actual address. It doesn't really matter if you don't care about whether it's on the public record or not. Just use your personal address then. You'll get all the posts directly sent to you. And yeah, you just need to decide on the director and the shareholder in the company, because you need one of each to set it up initially. Stay tuned for part 2 of our Essentials accounting course. This will be the next step after your company has been incorporated. So I'm kind of going in the best order possible to make it make sense. Step 1, incorporate your company, and then you worry about the rest. So step 2 is going to be in the next video, so be sure to stay tuned and I will see you there. Hope you guys have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching.